21, Tarek Recovery. And then coach, Wilmer Amor. And now, for your Perth glory. Between the sticks is a pillar, not much goes past him. The goalkeeper, number 1, Ante Kovic. And the defender, pillar back there, number 3, Mark Warren. He's a Perth boy back for his second stint at the club, number 6, Dino Druvic.
Well, here's the big question. Can the Glory reproduce their cup form in the league, or will the Reds pounce on a Perth side weary from 3 games in 8 days? Yes, we wrap up round 3 here at NIB. Adelaide are chasing their first win of the season. Perth are looking for their first points, but the home side should have a spring in their step after winning through to their second successive FFA Cup final last Wednesday night. Well, let's go to the lineups now, and Kenny Lowe makes 3 changes to that cup side. Imports Diego Castro and Guion Fernandez drop to the bench, as does youngster Mitch Oxborough. Richie Garcia returns from suspension. Diogo Ferreira gets a rare start in midfield. The Brazilian Sydney Sciola starts after passing a late fitness test. For the Reds, 2 changes from Guillermo Amor. Isaias is back from suspension. Mate Dugandzic is off the bench. Ali Babal is out for 6 weeks with a foot injury. Michael Morone shifts to the bench with Tarek Elrich back in his preferred role at right back. An experienced bench for the Glory with Fernandez and Castro. Not so Adelaide United teenagers Warland and Trimboli among the substitutes. Well, the crowd building up for this final game in round 3. A win would take the Glory off the bottom up to 8th place in the competition table. For the Reds, a win would take them into the top 6 after draws in their opening 2 games of the season. Richie Garcia back in the fold after serving his suspension in that semi-final of the Westfield FFA Cup midweek. A match which gave the Glory a win over Melbourne City and a place in the cup final against either Melbourne Victory or Hume City. That semi-final to be played in a few days' time. Bright sunshine here in Perth, which is good news considering the forecast we had earlier in the day. An unfamiliar look about this Adelaide United side. We call them the Reds, but they're in sky blue. I think that's a first in the A-League, an Adelaide United away kit. A nod of the head from my co-commentator this afternoon, Travis Dodd. There's Marcelo Carrusca, the superstar Argentinian. Always a pleasure to watch him at work. And speaking of work, it's a big day for Kenny Lowe. Happy with his team's result in the Cup. Certainly disappointed, though, with the results in the first 2 games of the season. 2 defeats in 2. He's hoping this will be a turning point of sorts. Shake of the hand there with his opposite number, Guillermo Amor, the former Barcelona legend, in the fledgling stage of his head coaching career. Man in the middle, in the centre of that picture, is Adam Fielding. who got the golden whistle in the WA NPL this season, just his 5th match in the Hyundai A-League. The first time he has refereed either of these sides. Well, 2 imports on the bench for the Glory, but one is still out there. Their new lucky charm, Georgi Shandor, the Hungarian. 3 goals in 3, 2 in the league so far. First Perth player to score in his first 2 A-League appearances. He has been a man in the right place at the right time in the first couple of games of the season. At the other end of the park, he'll be hoping for a change of fortune. The Socceroo fullback Tarek Elrich, just 1 win in 10 games here at NIB Stadium. He'll be a lot more comfortable back on the right-hand side of that Adelaide United defence, although he will have his hands full against the Brazilian Sydney Sciola. There he is, Sydney, who had to pass a late fitness test to get his place in the starting 11. He's been on the bench for the opening 2 games. As we prepare for kickoff here on an immaculate NIB Stadium surface. 3rd home game in a week for the Glory. First away game of the season for Adelaide. Checking the watch from Adam Fielding, and away we go here to complete round 3. The sun is out, storm clouds have disappeared for the moment. Glory into an attack early down this right-hand side with Chris Harold. Alongside me, Travis Dodd, who of course played plenty of football for both of these 2 clubs. And Travis, you've seen the week that the Glory have had. How will they cope with the schedule, do you think?
Well, they have had the benefit of not having to travel this week, so that is one thing. Adelaide, on the other hand, played 9 days ago, so they'll be well rested and ready to go. Perth, they've had to make the changes. Kenny doesn't want to risk any soft tissue injuries of his experienced senior players, so it'll be a tough test for Glory. Motivated and adrenaline still buzzing from Wednesday night, so expect them to come out early on and try and get something on the board.
And for Adelaide United, of course, undefeated in their first 2 league games, but winless. Draws against the Victory and the Wanderers. Here's Goodwin, who'll be playing at left back this afternoon. Was that a handball by Sanchez? That is the way the referee has eventually seen it. So, Travis, a few prominent names unavailable for Adelaide this afternoon. Maybe it's a big chance for Pablo Sanchez, who hasn't really established himself since coming to the club last season.
It always takes time to fit into a system, to a different style, a different culture, different playing environment as well. So yeah, he may not have found himself starting every week, and he has got the opportunity with Jitte out, and with Bruce Jitte almost ready to come back into the fold. He really needs to make the most of these opportunities that he's getting.
Here come the Reds. Here's Theriault back on this preferred left-hand side of that bank of 3. Gets it back from Isaias. Gets to the byline. Theriault lofts it to the back post. The Glory caught napping, and eventually they get it away. Here's Malik. Heavy collision involving Osama Malik and Chris Harold. And it will be a free kick for Adelaide.
Just mistimed that challenge there, Chris Harold. Osama Malik doing well to get his foot on the ball and get that touch there, but great early signs from Theriault down the left. Josh Risdon looks like he could be in for a tough afternoon, and not really what you want on the back of a heavy schedule like he's had.
So Goodwin and Duganzic over this free kick for Adelaide. Perhaps Goodwin the most likely. Will be Goodwin, straight into the wall. He gets the rebound. And that shot is charged down as well. Travis Elrich. Not entirely happy with his performance for the Socceroos in that loss to Jordan, Tarek Elrich. Nervously awaiting the announcement by Ange Postecoglou of the next squad. That match coming up in Canberra against Kyrgyzstan on November 12th. Live and exclusive, of course, as always here on Fox Sports. And Travis, when you look back at when you look back at Tarek a couple of years ago, where he was and where he is now, it's been an amazing story, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's come on leaps and bounds. There's no doubt about it. And he wasn't the only one to have a tough night at the office there, Jordan.
It's a sign of confidence from Chris Harold that it did take a touch on its way through.
Looking forward to see how Sydney Sciola does up front as that target man tonight for the Glory. Must admit, I do prefer him out wide where he can get the ball and run at players, so having to have his back to play and try and hold that ball up will be a bit of a tough one for him today.
So it's a corner here for the Glory. We know what a threat they are from these dead balls, but that's an easy take for John Hall, who celebrated his 21st birthday during the week. Deputising, of course, for the injured Eugene Galekovic, who's had a problem knee cleaned out. And, the word is that he is back in some form of training and hoping to return sooner rather than later, Eugene Galekovic. And in the meantime, it's a big responsibility for John Hall, but he's done pretty well.
Yeah, he's had to come in, been thrown into the deep end, no doubt about it, but come up with some decent performances. Frustrating there from Sciola. When you're out wide in that position, you have to be able to see across the line and not get caught offside there.
Here's McGowan. Malik. Isaias. McGowan again. This is the Adelaide United style. They dominate the completed passing stats in the Hyundai A-League. Isaias topping that particular count. He's ridden the challenge of Risdon. Now the release for Goodwin. Goodwin takes on Harold. The positioning though from Migdino Djulbic. And there's a rather theatrical tumble from Sydney Sciola. And this young referee having a word to Osama Malik. Adam Fielding.
Bit of a shove there from Malik. Did throw the arms up in the air, did Sciola, but foul nevertheless. Good play from Adelaide in the build-up there. Happy to be patient, work the ball through the lines, able to get it out wide. Unfortunate for the result.
Well, we've talked about players seizing opportunities. Sydney Sciola has really typecast himself, if you like, as an impact player, a bench player since he's arrived at Perth, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's
you ever see him becoming a 90-minute starter for the Glory?
Well, it's a difficult one. He's been given plenty of opportunities, but I think the same's been said for Chris Harold, who wasn't able to get through 90 minutes for a long period, and now when Perth Glory need him most, he's produced some great performances early on.
That's a wonderful release down that right-hand side. To Gunzic, now Jego, but that's a cheap turnover, and I'm not quite sure what he had in mind there, Jimmy Jego. Possession still with Sydney. He's been controlled all the way by Isaias, forced to go back towards his own goal. Elrich. It's always a patient build-up from Adelaide United, but given the schedule that Perth have had, is it maybe better served for them to go a bit harder at the Glory in these early stages?
Put them under pressure, exactly. I expect that when Perth get the ball at the back, Adelaide will put that pressure on and try and get a turnover due to the fatigue, and just expected the tempo, I think, yeah, to be a little bit quicker. See what Glory have got in the tank early on.
Here's McGowan up to the halfway line. Now Tarek Elrich. Strong from Thwaite. .64% of possession at the moment, Adelaide United. McGowan. Good run from Dugandzic. Somehow squeezes it through a couple of defenders, but cleaned up Ante Kovic. Now well into his 40th year, Ante Kovic. Got that record as the oldest ever Glory player, and is chasing down Mario as the oldest ever A-League player. Been an amazing career for Kovic, who of course spent a key part of his career in Sweden, where he gave Elfsborg a very good period of form. Still has a great reputation in Sweden. Ante Kovic is signed for the Glory on a one-year deal, but he's hoping that he'll be able to extend that.
These keepers can go forever, can't they? They don't do much of training.
Well, you'd have to say perhaps some of the best years of Kovic's career have been in the last few years as well.
Yeah, outstanding in that Asian Champions League campaign, that's for sure.
Well, he did get player of the tournament for the ACL, which I think is unprecedented for a goalkeeper to get that award.
Well, he kept them in so many games with crucial saves, penalty saves. Absolutely brilliant all throughout. Glory happy at this early stage to sit back on the halfway line and invite that pressure on. Not looking to go out and put any pressure on, try and conserve the energy, save the legs early on in the piece.
Down goes Sanchez. The challenge was from Mark Warren. Elrich will get in front here. Too quick for Richie Garcia, who's now out of position. They've played through the lines, Adelaide. If they move it quickly, they might have some numbers here, but again, they slow it down. You say yes. Karuska. Not on the same wavelength as Curio there. Marcelo Karuska. Kenny Lowe believes the spirit inside his dressing room is as good as it's ever been, despite all the stresses caused by that salary cap drama last year.
They're probably doing a bit of unnecessary work. They're trying to chase Osama Malik down on his own. He's out there and he'd be eager, but he's got to pick the right times to put that pressure on the back too.
Here's Goodwin, clever ball inside to Jego. Good hold-up play there from Pablo Sanchez. Well, I did make the point that Sanchez has struggled to establish himself as a regular starter, but he has scored 8 goals for Adelaide United, so he has chipped in with some pretty valuable contributions, most of them off the bench. Now Adelaide have their first corner of the match. Corner whipped in towards that near post, headed away by Garcia, only as far as Goodwin. Who rides a strong challenge from Shandor, but it breaks for the Glory. Now Marinkovic, and here is Georgie Shandor. Sydney has to stay on side. Shandor against Elrich. He threads it through, looking for Harold, but in the end, John Hall gets there in the nick of time.
Great touch there from the Adelaide United defender just to block that ball and knock it away from its intended path through to Chris Harold.
Here's Therio. That's overhit from Jego. Oh, what a fabulous playing career Amor had. Different story though as a coach. Different gig altogether. Mostly his coaching has been in the development program. Large part of it, of course, with Barcelona and their academy. Once you step into that hot seat, Travis, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, outstanding CV as a player, but as a coach, when you're on the other side of the touchline, you just can't have the influence out there. To an extent, you do what you can on the training pitch, but when the players step out there and cross the line, there's not a lot more you can do.
Does his reputation as a player help him in his dealings with his own players now that he's the coach? Do they take any notice of over 300 first-team appearances at Barcelona?
You'd certainly hope so. Certainly a player with that pedigree knows football, knows his football. There's no doubt about that. It's whether or not he's able to get that message across to the players in a way on the training field that they understand it. And certainly if he can do that, then Adelaide United are in safe hands.
Karuska driving it towards Jego. The header came from Josh Risdon. He was outstanding in the Cup semi-final on Wednesday night, Josh Risdon. Very comfortable at this point for Adelaide. So yes, Goodwin comes inside Risdon, and the first challenge is the one that the referee has decided was a free kick. Played short by Isaias. 76% of the ball from the visiting side. That is an indication of their dominance, both, not only with the ball but territorially as well. Haven't really hurt Perth Glory as yet.
No, apart from that first moment in the game with Therio down the left against Risdon. Nice there, ball there from Karuska. Craig Goodwin unable to get the extended leg to get the touch and bring it down.
Isaias Sanchez are not terribly happy with the manner of his dismissal against Melbourne Victory in round one. Back from suspension, number 8 for Adelaide United. Most of his career spent in the second tier of Spanish football, although he did play 4 La Liga games for Espanyol. Such a Spanish flavour around this competition. Virtually everywhere you look, there's a Spanish player involved. Adelaide United, of course, with 3 of them.
It's always about finding that right mix there with the foreign players, making sure you bring in quality, someone that's going to fit the system that's already there.
Of course, I should correct myself. It was Lee Broxham sent off in that tangle with Isaias, the other way around. But he's a competitive player, Isaias, isn't he, Travis? And the sort of player you want on your team, and the sort of player that the opposition hates to come up against.
Yeah, very, very similar, I think, to Kevin Muscat back in the day at Melbourne Victory. Fortunate enough to play with Kevin Muscat in the Socceroos. He was the captain when I made my debut, and fantastic to play under, but when he had that Victory shirt on, he's the one that you love to hate.
He's very much a rusted on first 11 player for Adelaide United. SAS so important to the way they build up their possession game. Here he is again in that familiar role between the two centre halves. Jego. SAS.
There's not a lot of movement out there for the Reds in the midfield at the moment. Finding it difficult to break those lines.
Almost 20 minutes gone here at NIB. At this point, a game of few goal-scoring opportunities. It's been pretty comfortable for Ante Covic.
I think part of that is the way that Glory have set up today. They've gone away from the two up front and flat four across the midfield, and opted more for the one up top in Sydney, and putting Diogo Ferreira in that holding midfield role. So he's able to screen the back four and give them a bit more cover, which is what they've struggled to do in the last couple of games, and it's allowed the opposition midfielders to make those runs in between the midfield and defence and find time to get the ball and face their goal.
Just his second start in a year, Diogo Ferreira has had, of course, a number of injury problems as part of that. Harold released. Hall has come a long, long way out, and in the end it proved to be the right decision from John Hall.
Initial thought there was, what's he doing? He didn't seem like he was committing enough. Harold did lift the ball. I wonder if he did try and play that along the ground, he would have got it possibly in behind him.
That's too strong from Ferreira, so he goes into the notebook for his challenge on Karuska. Diogo Ferreira.
Not a nice one there from Ferreira.
And Karuska has stayed down. It's no surprise when we look at that replay.
Looks like he's holding just under the knee, possibly top of the calf, but stud certainly raised there and did catch him. Not ideal for Adelaide either, having star playmaker in Karuska under the injury code. Looks like the physio's given the all clear there.
Yep, no doubt the studs were showing from Ferreira, who apologises immediately. He's not going to dispute the yellow card either. He pumped though, given the few opportunities he's had as a starting player since arriving at the Glory. Gets the chance ahead of Mitch Oxborough this afternoon. Elrich. SAS drives it long in the general direction of Thirio.
Not a great ball there in the end. Probably gone away from what they were doing early on in the piece and trying that patient build-up, trying to play it, opting for the more direct route there.
Amazing stat, that one. Or perhaps that's 4 times as many completed passes as Perth Glory Adelaide United. Again, Travis, the endless debate, the completed pass in these sort of areas as opposed to a completed pass in the front third where you can hurt opposition teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's Adelaide are comfortable across the back, being able to hold on to it, but they're not really hurting Glory at the moment. I think Glory will be happy to concede that possession and that territory there in the middle to back third for Glory, and be compact and not allow Adelaide to get in behind them.
Well, let's go down to Nick Meredith on the sideline for his observations.
Yeah, interesting one, Mike. You look at the possession that Adelaide have had, and as you said, it's extremely high, but their front three are almost identical type players in Gigantic, Sanchez and Sirio. Similar build, similar style of play. I think they're really missing a Balge or a Jito that they can bounce the ball off, and it's just very much of a muchness at the moment.
Yep, got Dugandzic and Thirio right on those touch lines. Sanchez through the middle. Here they go on the counter, Adelaide, but the flag is up. Not quite timing the run there, Mate Dugandzic. Here he is at the top of the screen. That's clearly offside. Player released, of course, by Melbourne City, Mate Dugandzic. And Adelaide United very happy to pick him up. Handy
player to have in your squad, that's for sure. Did well in his time at Melbourne Victory, and I'm sure Adelaide will be looking to get that same sort of form out of him here in Adelaide today against Perth.
Chance here for the Glory to set something up. Got the dead ball opportunity. This is their biggest threat. Julbic, Thwaite, Garcia, all very good in the air. As we've seen in the first couple of weeks of the season, Georgie Shandor has an uncanny ability to find that second ball if it's allowed to bounce inside the box.
Just a ball magnet in these areas, isn't he? Knows how to get on the end of them.
Here is Marinkovic, plenty of height on it. That's catching practice for John Hall. Karuska up and about, that's good news for Adelaide. Now Jego, here's Goodwin. On the overlap is Dugandzic. Comes inside, Julbic gets to the byline, needs a cutback. It's there, blocked by Mark Warren, I think it was. Ante Kovic wouldn't have got there. A let off for the Glory. Here come Adelaide again, Malik. That's too casual from Osama Malik.
Great build-up from Adelaide there in the quick counter, and Goodwin able to get past Julbic get the cutback there, and thought Thirio should have done better there, but great block from Mark Warren.
The right thing there, the left fullback for Perth Glory getting a start this afternoon ahead of Anthony Golek, who's been laid low by a virus. Given away by Risdon. Jego. Absolutely no communication there with Thirio, who checked his run. Jego didn't really look up.
Started to draw the defender there in Julbic, but no hablo español there.
Well, he's got an Austrian heritage, Jimmy Jego. Not sure if he speaks Spanish, although it probably is a useful thing to be able to do in this Adelaide United dressing room.
It's on the cards, learning Spanish in between sessions.
Here's Malik. Jego. Cleared by Julbic, kept in by Harold. Shandor thought there was a high foot in there. The referee saw it differently. We've seen a lot of Tarek Elridge pushing forward for Adelaide. Given the attacking instincts on this other side of Craig Goodwin, he's possibly going to sit in more than usual, Tarek Elridge.
Oh, look, I think it's ideal for both fullbacks to get forward, especially got Garcia out wide on the left for Glory. Get him working. Get Tarek up the line. Make Garcia do the hard yards to defend as well as get forward as well.
Might work a bit harder, Travis, when he gets the shade in the second half.
that was always what I was waiting for when I was playing.
Caught under the feet of Therio, but they still have possession, Adelaide. Now Karuska. Therio drawn Julbich out of the centre. And it was a nudge, was it, from Julbich? No, says Adam Fielding.
A little touch there from Karuska, but didn't seem to be too much in it from there from Julbich. He's happy to get up and get on with it.
Well, I can tell you the crowd has built up a fair bit since kickoff, so that's good news. The Glory, they need to make the most of their opportunities here at home. Well, speaking of their home form, just 2 wins in their last 9 here at NIB, so it's certainly become an issue for the club, given the massive amount of kilometres they have to travel when they go away. You drop points at home, it's a huge handicap.
Especially these early games in the season, you really want to try and capitalise on the home advantage and get points on the board.
There's the mistake from Shandor. Now SAS. Strong was Michael Thwaite, as always.
Adelaide, just that front third not really functioning as a unit. The top 3 not able to get those passes to stick.
Marcelo Karuska in the wars. There's no follow through there from Risdon, but he did fall awkwardly. And he just recovered from that earlier knock, Karuska.
Looks like he's copped another one on the same spot that Ferreira got him, so if that's one of those little cork injuries, certainly wouldn't tickle.
Fell on his shoulder as well there, Karuska, so he'll need some more attention. No doubt it's a free kick. He's clutching that left knee, is he? Or you're right, Travis, maybe a cork of the calf, perhaps.
Double whammy as well, twice in a few minutes.
Here's another look at it. Is that knee on kneecap on kneecap, perhaps?
Still hard to tell there. Initially great first touch there from Karuska to get the little turn in and lose his man there, and then Risdon just overcommitted. Neat little touch through the legs, and Risdon not having any of that on this occasion.
A bit thin on the bench in some ways as well, Adelaide United, so Guilherme Amor will be as keen as you'd expect for his star playmaker to play through the pain barrier here. But it is 2 heavy knocks for Karuska.
Certainly doesn't look comfortable coming off the pitch. Quite a heavy limp.
So Karuska off the park for further treatment. And here comes the free kick. Half a dozen Perth players on sentry duty. One of them Diogo Pereira. He is the player who got the important touch. Concern here for Karuska. Elrich. Gancic somehow gets it in. It'll break here for Thirio. He's trying to work the 1-2 with Sanchez there. And now the Glory can counter. Marinkovic. He's got Sydney in front of him. It's Sydney up against McGowan.
Good recovery from Adelaide United to get back, players back behind the ball, forcing Glory out, reset.
Shandor, space here for Risdon. Goes across the face of goal, cleared by Tarek Elrich.
There's no numbers in the box, getting through the box there for Glory. Sydney Sciola, the man up top, was out wide on the left, not coming in, making that run.
There's a hidden hope from Georgie Shandor. Well, at least that flurry of excitement has sparked up the home crowd here at NIB.
Good ball in there from Shandor. Just no Glory players at all making that run across any defenders. No real danger there for Adelaide.
Paul gets it back from Osama Malik.
Sometimes you just got to put your boot through it there, as McGowan's done it. It's good to play that ball out from the back, but when the pressure's on, Rosette will do.
They do have the wood on Perth Glory. Adelaide United undefeated in their last 9 matches against Perth. 10 if you include that FFA Cup final last year. So 9 games in the league and the FFA Cup. Adelaide United have dominated Perth Glory. And dominating possession and territory here. It's a poor throw from Harold.
It's just a waste there from Harold. When in a situation like this, when you are conceding so much territory and possession, you just need to, in those instances when you've got the throw, you're in total control. You just need to take your time and reset. Even if that ball had got to Sciola, it was 1v3 up front and he had no support anyway.
Goodwin. Tarek Elrich clearly unhappy with the movement in front of him. I won't repeat what he just said, but the FX microphone picked up his displeasure.
Oh, I can see the frustration. Sanchez coming to get the ball short and creating a big hole when Thwaite followed him in there, and just no third man running in there for Adelaide United trying to break into that space.
Shandor. And here's that outlet ball for Risdon. And the last touch coming off the Glory player. His touch letting him down there, Josh Risdon. Put in a huge shift on Wednesday night. Was in the expanded Socceroos squad about a year ago, Josh Risdon, so he is in the thinking of Ange Postecoglou. In the local newspaper today, Stan Lazaridis making his case for a green and gold shirt. Where do you sit with that, Travis?
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
Does he get your vote of confidence?
Yeah, he does, certainly. Came on in leaps and bounds when he got the opportunity to play. I was in front of him, like to say I taught him everything he knows.
So
but,
you made him look good, yeah.
I definitely couldn't defend, so he was doing work for 2 players defensively.
I've always liked your honesty.
No, but he's been fantastic. Shows determination and endeavour every time he puts the shirt on. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he does get a call up.
Malik.
The message certainly seems to be from Kenny Lowe, we stay compact and definitely do not concede. They are very tight defensively. Adelaide not able to break him down at this stage.
Ferreira. Sydney. A good run in front of him from Harold, but decided to turn back inside. Marinkovic. Just a few whistles coming from the home supporters. They want a little bit more purpose from their team. 5 minutes left in this first half. They have barely got inside that Adelaide United penalty area. A few signs of life in the last few minutes from Perth Glory.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You can understand the frustration from the fans. Want your team to get forward and attack and take Adelaide on, but at the same hand, it's the 3rd game in a week. I'm sure players are going to be fatigued. They're doing a lot of work defensively, trying to shut Adelaide out.
Good advantage from the referee. Therio almost got the better of Djulbic for the 2nd time in that move, but it's now with Sydney for Perth. Back to Mark Warren, has absolutely nothing in front of him. Has to go backwards to Thwaite. Ferreira out to Djulbic. Risdon. That's a good ball from Josh Risdon, but now Harold needs some support. Gets it from Risdon. It's good, strong defensive work from SAS, who hurdles the challenge of Risdon, but not enough real estate in the end for Sergio Thirio.
He's got that bobble up on a shin pad out for the throw, but they certainly looked like they were away there if they could have kept that one in.
Getting a little bit physical there between Dino Djulbic and Pablo Sanchez. The Spaniard not taking a backward step despite the size differential. Driven forward, header from Risdon.
Adelaide just don't look like they're going to score when they try and break Perth down like that, with that ball in over the top.
Well, Sergio Thirio arrived at Adelaide United with perhaps the least impressive CV of the 3 Spaniards, and we're talking about Isaias and Sanchez as well. For me, he's been perhaps the best of the lot. Absolutely fantastic winger. Makes life very difficult for every fullback he comes up against. A decent goal-scoring return as well. Sometimes CVs don't tell the full story, Travis.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's been fantastic, but I think as well Carrusco has been outstanding.
Here goes Sydney. He sprung the offside trap. Big chance for Sydney. He buries it. The sucker punch. They've defended and defended Perth Glory, but now they have the first goal of the game. Would you believe it?
Time and time again that happens. The team soaks up so much pressure, concedes the territory, concedes the possession. Kenny Lowe, I'm sure the message to his teammates, to his team, hold yourself defensively, and great run there from Sciola. Talked about him not being able to hold the ball up. Well, he hasn't held the ball up there. He's just broken the lines fantastically well. Shandor with a great ball there in behind McGowan. Cool finish past Hall. Left him with no chance whatsoever.
Well, off the bench into the starting 11, and now he gets a goal, Sydney Sciola. He is a crowd favourite here in Perth. And those fans delighted to see him on the score sheet. And you'd have to say completely and utterly against the run of play. The Glory have taken the lead, although they did have a decent spell before that goal arrived. Adelaide United will be shell-shocked here. And right now, Kenny Lowe looks like a genius, soaking up all that pressure, leaving a couple of key players on the bench.
Well, it was always going to be the question. Player management, who is he going to leave out? How is the team going to respond? Are they going to be able to back up for a third game in a week? Yeah, the football hasn't been great in possession in terms of possession for Glory, but they've done what they had to do. They need 3 points today, and they're doing whatever it takes to get it.
They will be desperate to hang on to that 1-goal advantage. 2 minutes to be added on to this first half. They've got a corner.
Set pieces now for Glory is where they can really hurt Adelaide. So well in set pieces last year, scoring 12 goals. Need to make the most of these opportunities, especially when they haven't had so much of the ball.
5th goal for the Glory from Sydney Sciola. His last came in round 23 of last season. Got the goal that counts here. Marinkovic with the corner. Swings it away from the goalkeeper. Here is Sydney. Goes for the spectacular. And it looks as though it's a high foot ruling against the Brazilian.
I expected nothing else from a Brazilian man there in that position. I'm sure he's capable.
Wasted ball from Dylan McGowan. So Adelaide United will have a lot of thinking to do during that interval that's coming up in a minute or so. Goal from that man, Sydney Sciola. Let's put the cat amongst the pigeons. Here's that attempted overhead, clipping the head of McGowan on the way through. Perhaps. As you've pointed out, Travis, Ali Babal out with an injury this afternoon. Bruce Jete has decided not to risk him on his return from his own fitness issues. So perhaps a few signs that Adelaide United are lacking that cutting edge, and that is certainly the way the scoreboard tells it. Perth Glory absorbing huge pressure for most of that first 45 minutes. But on the counter, Sydney Sciola has given them the only goal of the game so far. The Glory, of course, looking for their first points of the season. Adelaide United looking for their first win of the season. And at the moment, it's the home side with the foundation on a warm afternoon here at NOB. The halftime score reads Perth Glory 1, Adelaide United 0. We'll now head down to Nick Meredith.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Got Ante Kovic with me. Ante on the balance of possession and the stats. It would have appeared that you'd have been a very busy man, but you didn't have a whole lot to do.
No, I don't think I had a safe to make in that half. You know, they did have a lot of ball. We expected that from Adelaide. That's the type of play that they want to. We've you know, set up a block pretty well, and we got them on the counter. And that's you know, what we need to continue in the second half.
The back four in front of you seem pretty well organised. Is that how you found looking at them from behind?
Yeah, it's been a lot better. I think we're you know, we're talking out there a lot better. We're adjusting, and we're covering for each other. So it's been positive out the back.
That goal just on half-time could be invaluable too. It couldn't really open up the counter-attack.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's something that we needed right before half time, and you know, they're up for that. So you know, we've got those balls to play, and we've got players that can play those balls. So we've got to continue in the second half.
Thanks, Ante. Appreciate your time.
Cheers. Thanks.
Stay with us, a quick break, and then Travis Dodd will join me, and we'll go through what was a very fascinating first half here at NIB Stadium. Welcome back to NIB Stadium here in Perth. We're at half-time. Just on the stroke of half-time, actually, we have the scoreline that reads Perth Glory leading Adelaide United one goal to nil, I should say, in a half that was really dominated statistically-wise, Trav, by the visitors. They had a lot of possession, but as we see so often in football, possession is perhaps one of the most unimportant stats.
Yeah, time and time again, it does happen, and in today's performance, Perth Glory quite happy to concede the possession and the territory. Adelaide are dangerous at the back third in the middle of the park, and Perth Glory very good defensively, very compact, and making it very difficult for Adelaide to break down.
Yeah, they are indeed. Let's have a look at those all-important stats from the first half. And the one that you clearly see dominated every time Adelaide United play, basically, is the possession stat. But that's even more so than normal 68 possession. That's fairly dominant.
Yeah, well, as Ante Kovic said at the halftime break, they did expect that. And with Adelaide United fresh off the back of a game 9 days ago and Perth playing their third game for the week, I think they're very happy to concede that ground, save the legs, try and hit them on the counter, which they were able to do superbly.
Yeah, they did do it very well. It was pretty clear that Kenny Lowe came here with a plan today. After a busy 7 days for his team, they sat back, they soaked up a lot of pressure, and this sucker punch just on half-time was really what you're looking for with this style of play.
Yeah, it was a great little through ball there from Shandor, and great run from Ciola, and cool, calm, collected finish, what you'd expect from him in that position, leaving John Hall with absolutely no chance. I did mention during the call that Ciola was going to find it difficult to be that hold-up player, but he's shown why he can lead the top of the line, not holding it up, but breaking the lines there.
Yeah, he didn't. He timed his run expertly. It was a beautifully weighted ball, though. He really didn't have to change stride. And perhaps Adelaide were finding it so comfortable at the back that they got caught napping.
Yeah, it's been frustrating for Adelaide's perspective. They've not been able to break down the Glory defence, and when they have tried to get into behind, it's generally been the longer balls that have come to no avail.
Yeah, well, there haven't been a whole lot of chances in that first half, apart from the goal that we saw on half-time. But there have been a couple of opportunities to break the deadlock, and the first one here we see is from the Perth Glory.
Yeah, Josh Risdon and Chris Harold are starting to get a really good understanding there, playing together there regularly now, so they're on the same page. John Hall just coming out for that. I didn't think he was going to make that one.
We're getting attacked by flies down here, so apologies for that. And we see there Mate Gigantic, and when he's managed to get himself isolated one-on-one with a defender, he's looked really dangerous.
Yeah, he's done really well to get the cut back there, and great desperate defending there from Mark Warren to keep the goal out, because had he not got the touch there, I think Kovic was certainly beaten.
Yeah, it looked like it was a bit of desperation there. And Adelaide, you think, will create a few more chances like that. Do you see the balance of play changing, Trav? Was that more of that in the second half?
Oh, I certainly think we'll see more of that. Perth will continue to concede the possession and the territory. It's holding on. They need to hold on now. They've got the experience on the bench in Castro and Fernandez should they need it. But Adelaide have got a lot of work to come out doing the second half.
Thanks, Trav. We'll let you make the run back up the NIB Stadium stairs. Now, after the full time here tonight, we've got plenty more football on Fox Sports, and that starts up next, straight after full time, with the Sunday Shootout with Tara, Bozza, Ned and Cozzy. They'll discuss everything that's going on in the world of football, particularly what's happened in the A-League over a very busy weekend. And then a massive night of football tonight on Fox Sports. First, we've got the Tyne Weir Derby, Sunderland v Newcastle. Then it keeps going with a massive game from Manchester United against the Blue Half. And then Liverpool, under Jurgen Klopp, look to get a home victory against Southampton, but that will be obviously no easy task. And then as we progress through the week on Fox Sports, on Tuesday night, we have a very interesting, some exclusive footage of the victories roll towards the 2014-15 Championship. Some real exclusive footage there, and that should be fascinating viewing. Wednesday night, we see the final semi-final of the FFA Cup. Hume City from the Victorian Premier NPL, they take on Melbourne Victory. The winner of that will, of course, face Perth Glory in the FFA Cup final. So plenty to play for the semi-pro footballers of Hume City. We'll take a quick break now, and then we'll come back with all the live action of the second half here from NIB Stadium.
Well, so far so good for Perth Glory. They've got the only goal of the game through their Brazilian winger, Sydney Sciola. They have thrown down the gauntlet to an Adelaide United side who dominated territory and possession in that first half. But never really threatened the goal of Ante Kovic. Pretty happy looking Glory owner Tony Sage with this scoreline. Still 45 minutes to go, of course. Glory looking for their first win of the season, a result which would take them off the bottom of the competition table. Look as though Kenny Lowe is going to make a change to start the second half. Guillon Fernandez is stripped and ready to come on, the big Dutch striker. And perhaps Chris Harold is the player who's made way. Just get confirmation of that in a moment. And there is that confirmation. So Fernandez, who has had a slow start, it has to be said, to his Glory career. We'll be hoping to produce perhaps a goal in this second half to give the Glory a priceless win at the end of a tough week. Third game in 8 days for the home side. Adelaide United arrived rested after a long break between their last game and this. You'd imagine Travis Dodd, the message in that Adelaide United dressing room would have been pretty firm from Guillermo Amor. All that possession not really amounting to a great deal.
Yeah, I think Adelaide just need a bit more urgency and show a bit more energy in the front third. Get the ball zipping around a bit more. Spoke about Fernandez coming on and wanting to score a goal. If he's going to tonight, his opportunity is going to be few and far between, so he'll need to make the most of it if it's anything like the first half.
Yep, straight into that lone striker's role, Guillon Fernandez. So he'll have to do a lot of unselfish running. Sydney, you'd think, would be a little bit happier in his more familiar wide role rather than playing through the middle. Here's Elrich for Adelaide. Now Malik. Back to his goalkeeper, John Hall.
See already Perth content just to sit back and continue to soak that pressure up. Look to get Adelaide on the counter again. Very compact out there.
Here's Malik. Goodwin gets the rebound off Risdon. Now Jego. Garcia trying to feed Fernandez, but Malik always had front position. Elrich spins away from Garcia. Now Fernandez. Garcia, clever ball. He saw where Sydney was, and Sydney was way too slow to react there, but they still have possession through Marinkovic. He's tangling with Craig Goodwin in that far corner. Done his job, Sydney Sciola, to this point, hasn't he? With his chance in the starting 11. He had plenty of hard running in that first half, got himself a goal. Here's Jego for Adelaide trying to make things happen. Karuska tries to slalom his way through. Thirio, Karuska, back to Thirio. Takes on Risdon, hangs it at the back post. And no chances taken there by Garcia. He was hoping to chest that one back to his goalkeeper. But a corner is not a bad outcome for a difficult ball for Garcia to deal with.
Yeah, good work there from Thirio yet again to get past Risdon and just get that ball standing up to the far stick. Just think of that situation, Dugandzic just needs to get in there and throw himself at the ball and try and get in front of the defender there in Garcia in that time.
It's Dugandzic. Not a bad height on the delivery, and Osama Malik got himself into a good position.
Probably only one of two Adelaide United players with any height up for the set pieces. Finds Malik well, but unable to steer that, directed on target.
Garcia almost found his way through to Fernandez. SAS in a hurry to get things moving. Punches it forward to Sanchez. Jego puts himself about. Breaks though for Sydney. He's heading into a dead end. Here's Risdon. Malik strong in the air. Good hustle and bustle from Adelaide. The Glory making an absolute hash of trying to get this ball away. Still hasn't been properly cleared. Now they get the relief of a goal kick. A bit of pressure on the ball from Adelaide United there.
It's what's needed, and more of it from Adelaide. So you can try and affect the turnover there in that position high up in the park, rather than in the middle third where they have to have the build up. They win in that front third, they're able to get the ball, get it down and get a shot on target, something that they haven't really been able to do tonight.
Travis, just a word on Karuska. You know what a fabulous player he is, and it is, of course, early in the new season, but he hasn't been as influential in these early rounds as he was last season, or has he, in your view?
Look, it's hard to, when there's an expectation now on him to perform so well every week and be that playmaker and score goals and have the lovely little flicks and the killer passes every time, but you can't do it every time. Certainly doesn't help when, in today's situation, he has been on the end of a couple of heavy knocks. Certainly able to throw a player off their game.
Is it partly about the opposition really working him out now?
Yeah, I think coaches and players have done their homework on him. They know now what to expect, and certainly is on the end of a couple of ordinary challenges today.
And there he is producing a fairly ordinary challenge of his own on Shandor. Former Argentine youth international, Marcelo Karuska.
Say that's an attacker's tackle, that one.
Played plenty of first-team football at Estudiantes. Risdon. Ferreira. Risdon again. Telegraphed the pass. It was read by Goodwin. Here's a chance for Craig Goodwin to stretch his legs. Gets away from two. In there is Isaias, and he's come away with the ball. Now Karuska. Jego slides it in for Dugandzic. Wait needed to time the challenge well, and he did. Here's Fernandez up against Tarek Elridge, but plenty of commitment there from the Socceroo fullback. Adelaide have it back through Malik. Now Karuska. And that's a poor touch from Sanchez.
Good interplay there from Karuska and Sanchez there. The 1-2 movement off the ball is just what we haven't seen enough of from Adelaide tonight, and starting to find some rhythm, getting themselves into the game. Maybe some warning signs there for Kenny Lowe.
Yet more of the same from Adelaide in terms of possession in this second half. 69% of the ball since half-time.
Big question now for Glory at this stage of the game and winding down is, can they hold on? How much is the hectic schedule over the week going to affect the players that are out there? Shandor's starting his third game for the week. Djulbic, Thwaite. Sure there'll be some tired legs towards the end of the second half here.
And the word is that the Glory will be adding to their depth by signing the former Sydney FC player Joel Kianese, who's been at the club for a few months, picked up an injury during a trial match, and just had to hold fire on the signing. But the word today is that signing will be processed, so they will add to their depth. Here's Goodwin. Gets away from Risdon. Good work from Craig Goodwin. Just misses that far corner. That whizzed across the face of goal from Craig Goodwin. And Ante Kovac very relieved to see that one scrape past the upright.
Yeah, Goodwin's done really well to get that ball there, and fires across. I think Sanchez waiting for the cutback there, but Gigantic, don't know, he probably wouldn't have got to that one. Got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. I know, wouldn't have been able to throw himself at that one, but well done from Craig Goodwin. Couple opportunities now for Adelaide in the last couple minutes. I'm sure there'll be a bit of concern on the sideline for Kenny Lowe and Andy Ord down there, figuring out the next change and what they're going to do to halt this Adelaide progression.
Here's McGowan. Both McGowan and Malik starting to insert themselves a bit more into midfield. Karuska finding little pockets of space. Here's Duganzic. Kovac lumps it forward in the general direction of Fernandez, who complains to his goalkeeper. Karuska. Ominous signs for the Glory. Karuska starting to see a lot more of the ball. Elrich has kept it in. Good play from Elrich. Now Jego. Isaias back to Jego.
Static there now for Adelaide in the front third. Now not a lot of movement, not a lot of options for Malik.
Here is Malik. Craig Goodwin. The best of deliveries. Needed to get that in behind the retreating Glory defence. Cleaned up by Dino Djulbic. Maybe he's the man to settle this Glory side down. Diego Castro, their 33-year-old Spaniard. So it's slowly starting to show just what quality he does have. Over 220 games in La Liga. Diego Castro.
Well, he's getting better with each game that he's played for Glory. He's only been at the club for a short amount of time. A player that will be able to come in the middle of the park and hold the ball up.
Here's Elrich away for Adelaide. The cutback is clever. Karuska. Superb defending from Dino Djulbic, who absolutely threw himself at it. McGowan. Karuska. Dispossessed by Djulbic. Back to Malik. Drives it towards Goodwin. Now Risdon. He thumps it into the stand.
That was one thing that Perth Glory were renowned for last season, was that determination and desperation, and Djulbic shows it yet again. clever cutback from Tarek Elrich, and Karuska able to get a boot on it, but once again, the determination from Djulbic, able to see him out.
And here they come again, Adelaide. They're starting to build a case. McGowan. Karuska. Dugandzic.
Glory play is just so deep at the moment. They win the ball, they're just not able to get it up there and hold it up further down the park.
That was a superb ball out of defence by Dino Djulbic. Fernandez is straight into an offside position. Ball's here for Richie Garcia, who goes early looking for Fernandez! What a strike! What a way to get off the mark! Guillon Fernandez! In front of the shed, no less. The Glory stretch their lead.
Just as I finished saying that, Glory unable to get the ball and hold it up the park. They do break out wide and left. Garcia. Fantastic ball into Fernandez, and what a finish from there, across the body with the left foot. Said his opportunities would be limited tonight in front of goals, but he certainly dispatched that one with absolute class.
He has bludgeoned that one into the net, Guillon Fernandez. And he is off and running as a Glory goal scorer. And once again, against the run of play, the Glory have stunned Adelaide United.
Well, if it was Kenny Lowe that was concerned earlier about how he was going to halt the Adelaide progression, it's more now how he's going to, what options he's got from the bench to unlock the Glory defence.
Dangerous ball in from Dugandzic, again defended well by Perth Glory. Out to Jego. He was caught in two minds there, Jimmy Jego. It does look as though Diego Castro was about to be introduced by Kenny Lowe. It's the perfect time to bring on his creative player who can keep possession in tight areas. Diego Castro is coming on and will be the goal scorer, Sydney Sciola, who makes way, sure, to a rousing reception from the Glory fans. Job done.
Well, you'd certainly have to say so for Sciola tonight. Did well in the first half, up front by himself, making that great run in behind the Adelaide defence to get himself on the score sheet. And a more than able replacement in Diego Castro coming on, able to affect the game from the middle of the park. Great at holding the ball up. We've seen over the last couple of games that he is getting better the more minutes he gets in his legs.
Diego Castro now much more settled since the arrival of his family a week or so ago. Risdon back to his goalkeeper, Ante Kovic. Now Dugandzic. Here's Elrich. Well, Travis, probably goes without saying, but that's got to be a huge weight off the shoulders of Guillon Fernandez, that goal. There's been a few murmurs of discontent, if you like, around the place in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure. You look at the performances and the opening game against Central Coast, giving the penalty away and conceding that. Not really getting a lot of opportunities in the second game. So for any striker coming to a new club, always great to get the monkey off the back.
Well, there is that goal from Fernandez. He did score in his last game of last season in the Dutch Eredivisie for NAC Breda.
Just a superb ball there from Garcia as well.
And there is the excitement and the relief for the big Dutchman. And the right end to score a goal here as well.
Yeah, they're pretty passionate down in the shed end. When they're happy with you, you certainly know about it, but haven't had a lot to celebrate over the last few months.
Fernandez, of course, ostensibly replacing Andy Keogh as the main striker for the Glory. He did so well last season, Andy Keogh. So they are big shoes to fill. Keogh, incidentally, back in Perth at the moment, visiting family, and the Glory were keen to explore the option of getting him signed up as a guest player. But, apparently he's been knocked on the head. Here's a chance for Jego. And Jimmy Jego has taken a deflection. Said during the pre-season, Jimmy Jego, he wants to add goals to his game. He takes up a far more forward position these days with Adelaide United.
Got into a very good position there. Yet again, more desperate defending to...
In from Dugandzic. Header from Warren. Fernandez back helping out. Here is Jego. Julwich with the clearance. Helped on its way by Garcia. Goodwin back to Karuska. Gives it back to Goodwin. Craig Goodwin sets it up, and Pablo Sanchez couldn't dig it out. He was about 2 metres out of an open goal. Warren. Fernandez, heavy touch. Castro. Away comes Isaias. Now Jego. Still plenty of time for Adelaide United, despite a discouraging scoreline. Diogo Ferreira. Now Shandor. Runs into Tarek Elrich. Goodwin. Here's Castro. Looks as though Adelaide have gone to a back three, Travis, which will invite Glory to push forward now. Risdon. Shandor. Castro's in there. Might break for Garcia, but the free kick goes the other way. The ball in the back of the net. The whistle had already blown.
Well, certainly Adelaide United look like they're ready to roll the dice. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for Glory going forward now. Good touch in there from Shandor, but Castro just clipping the heels there.
Here's Goodwin. He's been pushed forward in that reshuffle. He's starting to make an impact. Another corner for Adelaide United. Again, Glory defend well.
Well, they're going to find it hard pressed to win headers in the box. Adelaide, with the size that they've got available. Sanchez up front. Jego, not overly big players. It's going to have to be an inch-perfect pass to hit him from there.
Here's Castro. Warren, look at the space in front of Mark Warren. It's 3v2 if he can shift it the right way. Chance here for Marinkovic. He goes for goal straight at John Hall. And the tempo's starting to lift. Just over 20 minutes remaining. A hint of desperation now about Adelaide United. Space for the Glory to exploit on the counter. It's been a slow burner, this contest, but it is starting to come to life. Michael Thwaite. Here's Shundor.
Just at the moment, just can't see how Adelaide are going to score goals.
Well, here they are with Sanchez in behind as we speak. And again, Michael Thwaite with the desperation. He's not happy there was no offside flag, and he's had a bit too much to say to the assistant referee. Get a quiet word from young Adam Fielding.
It's just standard, isn't it? You finish saying a sentence and then...
Yep, it's called the commentator's curse.
Goodwin's been very prominent in the last few minutes. I think Adelaide just need to keep getting the ball to him. He's got a lot of confidence getting past Risdon there, getting balls into the box. Just need the numbers in the box as well.
In from Goodwin, header from Julbic. Here's Jago. Now Elrich. Naruska gets it back from Isaias. It's not sticking in there for Pablo Sanchez. Yet again, all the ball with Adelaide United, and yet again they're struggling to really penetrate. To Ganzic. Dangerous ball in. I say they're struggling to penetrate, Travis, but both Thwaite and Julbic have been absolutely immense in the last 10 minutes or so. And it looks as though the Glory have an injury problem now with Mark Warren, who's limping heavily. Here's Diogo Ferreira. Garcia.
Teammates need to recognise that Warren's struggling and maybe get the ball out. Not in this position, though.
The right ball played by Diego Castro. Garcia. Fernandez won't get there. Castro will. Superb Perth Glory. Diego Castro has iced the cake here at NIB. 3-0 for the home side. Adelaide United cut to ribbons.
Once again, Richard Garcia central to that goal. Breaking out wide, Castro first to get that ball out there, but the delivery again, playing it in front of behind the defenders, Castro to run onto. Thank you very much, he says. What about the decision from Kenny Lowe to rest both of these players for the start of the match and bring them on when it counts?
Well, it is a tough gig being a A-League coach, but when you get it right, you deserve all the credit. Kenny Lowe, it's been a masterstroke. There's two imports left on the bench. They've both come on and scored their first goals for the club. And look at that scoreline. Adelaide United have had the wood on Perth Glory for a long, long time. 10 games in a row if you count the FFA Cup final. It's been more than 3 years since Perth Glory knocked over Adelaide United, but barring a miracle, that run will come to an end here as the shadows lengthen across NIB.
Yeah, Adelaide United just haven't had that, haven't been fluid enough. They haven't been able to knock the ball around, get that movement off the ball to try and get in behind the Glory defence and take nothing away from Perth Glory. They've been fantastic defensively, not giving Adelaide an inch, compact all game, not giving them opportunities to get in between the lines. And when they're getting their opportunities in front of goals, they are certainly making them count.
Well, next up for the Glory is the trip to Sydney to play the Wanderers. For Adelaide, they're away again in Brisbane.
A couple of the Glory players did say after the Cup win on Wednesday night that that win they believed is what they needed to kickstart their season, and it's certainly shown in the effort that they've put in tonight.
Risdon working with Garcia, but scuffed the return, Josh Risdon. SAS. Dugandzic. Thirio continued his run. And that's an own goal. Diogo Ferreira has put it into his own net. Maybe a lifeline for Adelaide United. There's resignation on the face of Diogo Ferreira. And could that be a way back into this for the Reds?
Diego Castro just letting the run of Thirio go there, and Castro Ferreira, I should say, just not able to direct it away from the goal. An unfortunate outcome for him there.
And to be fair to Ferreira, he, I think, had Carrusco just behind him, and you'd back Carrusco there to get a shot on target at least, so wasn't necessarily the wrong decision to intervene. It just didn't work out for Diogo Ferreira. Here's Castro. Upended by Tarek Elrich.
Difficult one,
yeah,
from Thwaite there. Puts his hand up to apologise for the third time.
Carrusca double teamed. Thwaite, here's where Fernandez needs to hold it up. He can't, beaten by the bounce of the ball. McGowan. Jego. Going to be a twist in the tail here. Adelaide United certainly have plenty of offensive weapons available here. Thirio being one of them. Carrusca back to Thirio. Thwaite's in there. Goodwin. The shot blocked by Shundor, and driven in by SAS. An awkward bounce in front of Kovic.
Gonna have to be really good to beat Kovic from there. In the end, held it quite comfortably.
Mark Warren seems to be okay. It's his ball which picks out the space for Fernandez. Ferreira. Fernandez. Giving it away here, the Glory. Played in there strongly on Sanchez. Right under the nose of the referee.
Certainly would have expected a lot more pressure from Adelaide on the ball there, trying to turn it over, but in the end, relied on the turnover from Fernandez himself.
Elrich goes early. Waits header helped on its way by Shundor. So it may have been a handball there by SAS. Marinkovic. Here goes Guillaume Fernandez. He's already scored one. He's got Castro unmarked. He's the target. Castro! He's wasted it. Well, that would have put the game beyond doubt. And you'd have to say they should have scored here, Perth Glory.
Great touch there from Fernandez. Another one, just holding it, drawing McGowan in. Thought there was going to get in, cut off, but not sure how that one didn't take a deflection to go out there for a corner.
They get a let-off here, Adelaide United, and now they push forward. Goodwin, Jego. Beautiful ball, almost from Jego. What a crucial interception that was from Julbic. Thurio was about to line up the shot. Goodwin again. Corner, Adelaide. Swung in towards the near post. Sanchez is there. Kovic gets a glove to it. In there is Jego. He goes to ground, appeals to the referee. Elrich made a hash of the back pass, but retrieves the situation. Hall. Now Malik. Gugantic. Invited outside by Warren. That is good use of the body by the Glory left back.
Yeah, Mark Warren's done very well there. Body to body there for Gugantic. Great delivery into the box there.
No way, that's a penalty. Mine anyway. Fernandez was in the vicinity. Ready to throw himself to the ground there, Jimmy Jego.
Fernandez
First available opportunity.
not really aware of Jego steamrolling in. You see Gugantic struggling now with some possible cramp. He's out there stretching the calves. Been a warm afternoon.
Well, he will not be relaxed on that bench, Kenny Lowe. He would have been relaxed if Diego Castro had scored when he should have. Talked about Adelaide United's head-to-head domination of Perth Glory. We've talked about the Glory's poor home form. Thurio. Play in Jego. Here's Marinkovic. Fernandez. Oh, the flag's up. Is it against Fernandez or is it against Castro?
Great touch initially there from Castro.
He's getting some fresh legs on now, Kenny Lowe. Mitch Oxborough on. And it will be Richie Garcia to come off.
He's got through a ton of work today. Pivotal in 2 goals. 2 great assists. Exactly what you need from your skipper, the leader of the club. When the chips are down, no points after 2 games, he came to the front and led by example.
And here's an interesting one for Adelaide United, who also make a change. It's young Anthony Trimboli, the 19-year-old, on for his A-League debut. He was a mascot at Adelaide United a decade ago. I guess that makes you feel pretty old, Travis. Karuska. Elrich, and that is going to be a throw. Yes, young Anthony Trimboli will just stay with him for a moment. Went overseas to Italy, had a 9-month trial at Perugia, and has been playing in the local NPL for Adelaide United this winter. He's on for his debut.
Yeah, I actually saw the photo when he was mascot for that game. To think I was playing there a year later, yeah, you're right. It does make me feel old.
Ferrier. He's got Trimboli hogging this near touchline. Karuska. SAS. Pass was just too straight.
It's been the story of the night for Adelaide. Just that final ball into the box, unable to find its target.
Wayward touch for Trimboli. Here's Guilherme Amor. Goes to his bench once again. And off comes Marcelo Karuska, who has been in the wars. And on comes George Mells. Spent a couple of years in the Southampton Academy. Originally from Melbourne.
With all the injuries that Adelaide have got, he's now having to rely on the young exuberance of the players coming on. Try and dig him out of this hole tonight.
It's getting a bigger hole by the minute as the clock ticks away. 4 minutes plus stoppages remaining. South Glory in the driving seat for their first win of the season. Marinkovic, Castro. Back to the serve. Now Warren seems to have shaken off whatever knock he picked up. Hall drives it in the direction of Sanchez. One in the air by Thwaite. Now Oxborough. There is Marcelo Karuska. Been his day.
Certainly didn't look pleased when he came off the pitch as well.
No, certainly unhappy to be replaced, Karuska, although that might be something to do with the knock that he's picked up. Frustrating afternoon for the Reds as the Glory look to add another goal. Castro and Fernandez have done their bit off the bench. SAS spreads it wide to Goodwin. And Risdon gets the better of him. And a nutmeg from Josh Risdon. Castro, clever. Ferreira. He's got Fernandez in the middle. He's got Castro deep. It's played behind the Spaniard. Diogo Ferreira.
Had the opportunity there just to drive it in. He probably had a bit more space than what he thought. Elected to try and pick out Castro at the far stick and just overhit. But great play again from Josh Risdon, starting to pull out the party tricks now.
Goodwin.
things don't go right for you on the night, they just don't go right. Like just a touch off the thigh there, bouncing up onto the hand.
You mentioned earlier, Travis, about the team spirit that Kenny Lowe is very happy with. We saw it last season, even after the salary cap drama broke. It's such a big asset for his coach to have a unified and spirited dressing room. I think we're seeing plenty of signs that that is still the case.
I think a lot of it comes down to the play.
Given away carelessly by McGowan. Now Ferreira. Urged to shoot by the Shed. Drives it straight into Mullock. Now Thirio. Gets away from Shandor. And now Risdon with the rebound. As we head towards time added on.
Going back to your point there, Mike, so much of that determination and the attitude to never give up, it comes from within the playing group, and you need to have the players that are willing to go out there and die for the shirt and
the leaders
and
as
put
well.
body in the lines, yeah, and it's the senior players that lead that. When the younger players see that in the squad, they do the same thing, and then it just festers, just like a bad attitude can.
Look at that ball from Castro. Marinkovic feeds Fernandez. The flag is up.
The touches that we've seen from Castro this afternoon have been fantastic. On the ball, controlling, the passing. Certainly something to look forward to if you're a Glory fan this year.
As you've already mentioned, both Guion Fernandez and Diego Castro did arrive very late in the pre-season. So they are behind their teammates in terms of their match fitness. Not so Georgie Shandor, who came right at the start of that pre-season program, and that's one reason why he has started the season so strongly. There's Trimboli with a looping header.
Ante Kovic, I'm sure he'll be in no hurry to get this ball back into play. Tony Sage, how happy would he be? Getting a bit of a cheer from the Shed end.
And there's another stat which in some ways is a positive for Adelaide United, but in other ways it's almost meaningless. All those completed passes, and they haven't scored a goal. Their only goal came from a Perth Glory player.
Well, I'm sure you'll be looking at it that way tonight. They'll be dissecting it and trying to work out where they can improve the game plan to break Glory down for next week, and where they can improve for their following game.
He looks a beaten man, Guilherme Almor, Adelaide United coach. Isaias. Another strong piece of one-on-one defending by Michael Thwaite. It's been an absolute standout this afternoon.
Back four for Glory haven't really given much away all night.
Here's Anthony Trimboli. Drives across, way too deep across the face of goal. The 19-year-old. Not a debut to remember in terms of the outcome for Anthony Trimboli. He'll be grateful for the minutes he's been given. Just a few seconds remaining now. No doubt about the outcome. Well, what a few days this has been for Perth Glory, through to the final of the FFA Cup and now off the bottom of the Hyundai A-League ladder. Their first win of the season. In the end, a comfortable scoreline against an Adelaide United side who dominated territory, dominated possession, but lacked a cutting edge. It all went perfectly for Kenny Lowe. Goals for Fernandez and Castro, their first for the club. Sydney as well among the scorers. The only goal for the Reds came from a Glory player, put into his own net by Diogo Ferreira. So they're on their way, Perth Glory. Adelaide United with some thinking to do. Solid start to the season, undone here at NIB. Their long run of success against the Glory has come to an end. But for the home side, no wonder they are thrilled to bits. All smiles in that Glory camp. It's been a tough week, but in the end, a rewarding one for the home side, who move up to 8th place on the competition table ahead of their trip to Parramatta next weekend. Guillaume Fernandez off the mark, Diego Castro as well. The full-time score here at NIB. Perth Glory 3, Adelaide United 1. Let's now go down to Nick Meredith.
Thanks, Mike. I've got Alex Tobin, winner for the day, points winner today, Richie Garcia. Richie, a great few days for the club.
Yeah, definitely, you know, making back-to-back finals and winning our first home game, it's a fantastic feeling, and I think the boys deserve it from all the hard work they put in.
It was hard slog today, wasn't it? They dominated possession, so I guess you expected them to do, but structurally you seem very well organised.
Yeah, we really focused on wanting to keep a clean sheet. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, but we looked a bit better defensively, and we caught them on the counter.
It takes a good commitment from everyone when you set out like that to keep a disciplined defensive effort that everyone's really got to make a contribution.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've been working hard on it, and you know, we're still building and we're still trying to gel as a team, and I think going forward it'll get better and better, and we'll be able to work off that structure.
Tough trip next week to Western Sydney. They're obviously going to be pretty desperate, so that'll be a tough gig.
Look, all the games are hard in the A-League, so it's much of a muchness. You've got to go and win games wherever.
Thanks, Richie. Appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.
Craig Goulden. Craig, on the balance of that, it's pretty hard to see how you lost the game 3-1.
Yeah, I know it is pretty disappointing. I thought first half especially we got hit with a real sucker punch, dominated possession and created some openings. Therio probably could have scored with one at the back stick, and if that goes in, it's a completely different game. And of course, I think at the end of the day, it's our own mistakes that have really cost us.
I'd imagine for an away game, it felt fairly comfortable in possession. They seemed to let you come a fair way up the field, but maybe just didn't create enough chances as you could have.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think more the taking of chances, being real clinical in that front third and being ruthless, really. And that's something we haven't done in the opening 3 games. And from there, dominating possession and not being ruthless, we haven't been solid enough at the back with our own silly mistakes at times. So I think that's what's cost us today.
Difficult clash for you guys too next week on the road again. Another fairly long trip. You're up to Brisbane, who so far have been playing reasonably well.
Yeah, they have. They've had a good start to the year. But look, we just got to regroup. I think we can take a lot of positives out of this game. We did dominate the possession, and we did create more openings than we have done in the previous games. Being away from home, it's good to be able to do that. But I guess from here on in, we have to work on definitely being more ruthless in the front third when we do get our chances.
Thanks, Craig. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's all we got time for here at NIB Stadium. Now it's over to Tara and the boys for Shootout.
Yeah, I guess it's a work in progress, and the first 3 games we weren't really happy, even the FFA Cup semi-final. So we're just building momentum, and obviously we're playing on the counter, nice solid unit. So it's going to take time, and you saw the quality when we react and press very quickly. Yeah, I agree. I guess last year we had the big unit in Roston Griffiths in front of us, and that breaks down a lot, and it seemed quite open. So I think Diogo Ferreira needs a lot of compliment because he was very good today, and he protects us very well. So we're not camped and defending on our 18, so it allows us to play a good counter-attacking game. Well, I'm actually fluent in Spanish now, so they got that many quality Spanish players. Obviously, they're going to keep possession very well. I think in the middle of the third, as long as they're not getting a lot of attempts on goal, and I think we limited them with chances on goal, and that was our game plan, to be compact. And then you saw how we break so quickly and creating great